Tonight's top stories. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a bilateral meeting to discuss possible areas of cooperation and the further deepening of ties between the Philippines and Russia. Both chambers of Congress held pre-trial conferences for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The palace response to the latest allegation made by Representative Pulong Duterte against the Marcos administration and the International Criminal Court, or ICC. Various areas of the country take part in the simultaneous earthquake drill to ensure readiness against the effects of a strong ground shaker. All these and more on PTV News Tonight. Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. Speech celebrating the ASEAN-Russia commemorative summit, the president underscored 3 key points to be pursued to grow the partnership: sustained political and security engagement, expanded economic cooperation through increased business ventures and investments, and stepped up food and energy security. Here's the full report from our Kenneth Paciente.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. highlighted 3 key priorities in his address at the ASEAN-Russia Commemorative Summit. He said that while the partnership between Russia and the ASEAN region has stood the test of time over the past 30 years, more work still needs to be done to further strengthen it. On security, the president stressed the importance of sustained political and security engagement between ASEAN and Russia, especially at a time of intensifying geopolitical tensions.
Transnational threats such as terrorism, illicit trafficking, cybercrime, and online scams do not respect borders, and neither can our responses. We must strengthen practical cooperation on maritime security and counter-terrorism, reinforce our collective resilience in cyberspace, and develop the institutional habits of anticipation rather than mere reaction.
On economic partnership, the president said opportunities for trade must be expanded, investment deepened, and business communities across the region more closely connected. He also emphasized the need to focus on energy and food security, which he described as foundations of broader stability.
Our economic cooperation must also be inclusive. Our micro, small, and medium enterprises must have a place in this partnership, and our cooperation must extend into the emerging sectors that will shape tomorrow's global economy.
Finally, the president said the welfare of the peoples of ASEAN and Russia should never be overlooked. He said this can be advanced through scholarships, student exchanges, academic partnerships, and other people-to-people initiatives.
The connections forged between our peoples outlast any summit declaration and carry our partnership forward in ways that policy alone cannot do. We must continue to invest in these bonds, placing our youth not merely at the receiving end of this cooperation, but at its center, as the generation that will ultimately decide what ASEAN-Russia relations will become.
The president added that the Philippines' participation in the summit represents not only solidarity, but also a renewed call for collective action. As ASEAN chair in 2026, President Marcos Jr. served as a co-chair of the summit. Kenneth Paciente for the Nation.
In its very first in-person greet and meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. hailed the nearly 40 years of fruitful partnership between the ASEAN and the Kremlin. A distinct tie-up, the president said, which needs even more cultivation and increased cooperation of an array of endeavors rooted in mutual interest and shared values. Our Kenneth Paciente dwells more on this historic engagement in this report.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. emphasized the need to further strengthen cooperation between the Philippines and Russia in key areas, particularly in the energy and food security sectors. In his opening statement during the bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, the president noted that while the trade between the two countries remains steady, he sees greater potential for expanding economic ties.
As you have mentioned, Your Excellency, there are many potential areas that I think we should that's still open to explore, and I think that the present level of trade, although it is steady, I think that there is a great deal more.
The president also cited discussions under the Joint Commission on Trade and Economic Cooperation, or JCTEC, where energy and food security emerged as shared priorities of the Philippines and Russia. He said business-to-business engagements have also helped build new networks and identify possible joint ventures between companies from both countries. The president further highlighted the agreements signed covering various areas of cooperation.
We note that a number of memoranda of understanding that were signed during this activity covered cooperation in innovation, retail products, cosmetics, food processing, and industrial collaboration.
Meanwhile, the president reiterated the importance of continued political dialogue between the Philippines and Russia, which he said serves as a key platform for further expanding bilateral cooperation.
We hope to continue our regular conduct of political consultations between our foreign ministries. They provide a very important opportunity to explore further ways of cooperation.
As ASEAN chair in 2026, President Marcos Jr. also personally invited President Putin to attend the 21st East Asia Summit to be held in Manila in November.
The East Asia Summit remains an integral part in maintaining a regional architecture towards our shared goal of a stable, secure, and prosperous region.
For his part, Russian President Putin said there is a strong potential to expand cooperation between the two countries, particularly in agriculture and energy. He also pointed to the joint Russia-Philippine Commission on Trade and Economic Cooperation as a mechanism for further strengthening economic relations between the two nations. Following their meeting, President Marcos Jr., along with other ASEAN leaders, attended the state reception hosted by Putin in honor of the delegates participating in the ASEAN-Russia Commemorative Summit. Kenneth Pasyente for the Nation.
The wheels of the impeachment trial are now in motion, with both sides moving from preparation to procedure. As evidence begins to take shape and the Senate readies its courtroom, key questions from logistics to leadership remain on the table ahead of the July 6 trial. Bernard Ferrer narrates the report.
The marking of evidence for Article 3, which involves the allegation of bribery, has been completed. This followed the pre-trial conference where the prosecution panel, defense panel, and private prosecutor met to discuss matters related to the upcoming trial. The defense panel is expected to return on Monday, June 22, to continue and complete the marking of evidence for the other articles of impeachment. Attorney Michael Powa, spokesperson for the defense panel, Vice President Sara Duterte clarified that there was no tension between the two sides during the pre-trial conference.
Hindi naman, usual naman yan sa pre-trial, yung mga ganyang pagkatalo. So, and we were able to settle it naman. So, I think it was a good morning session. At least we found ways para ma-expedite yung proceedings. So, as you know, mabilis na, nasa marking na tayo ngayon.
Meanwhile, Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian said the Senate is also making the necessary preparations in its capacity as impeachment court for the trial scheduled to begin on July 6. According to Gatchalian, the Senate continues to coordinate with intelligence clusters and law enforcement agencies. Physical preparations have also begun to ensure the orderly conduct of the impeachment trial.
We met with the PNP, the AFP, MMDA, Pasay LGU, Patinica, and other enforcement agencies.
The issue of who will serve as a presiding officer is still under discussion.
Under the rules, it's the Senate President who will preside unless the Senate will decide otherwise. No? So I don't want to preempt our discussion. So magkakaroon kami ng discussion dyan.
For now, Gatchalian will continue to serve as presiding officer unless changes are made before the impeachment trial begins. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson said that Senator Francis Chis Escudero could serve as presiding officer based on a reported suggestion from Gatchalian. Lacson, however, clarified that Escudero's possible appointment was not part of any discussion or negotiation related to his transfer to the majority bloc. Gatchalian also maintained that 16 votes will still be required for a conviction, despite calls to lower the threshold due to the suspension of one senator and the continued absence of another member of the Senate.
I cannot predict kung ano yung mga issues na lalabas doon, but as far as I'm concerned, I will uphold what is written in the Constitution.
One of the biggest challenges for Gatchalian is logistics, particularly the limited space in the Senate to accommodate the needs of the defense panel, prosecution panel, and the private prosecutor during the impeachment proceedings. Bernard Fede for The Nation.
Vice President Sara Duterte was absent from the first day of the impeachment case pre-trial conference, with her legal counsel appearing on her behalf. Sheila Natividad gets up to speed as House prosecution spokespersons criticized the defense team for lacking substantive evidence in their submitted brief.
Vice President Sara Duterte did not show up on the first day of the pre-trial conference for the impeachment case she is facing. Instead, she was represented by her legal counsel, according to House Trial spokespersons Rene Co and Zia Alonto Adyong. This contrasts with VP Duterte's statement before that she was prepared to appear in any hearing or present her evidence before the court. Attorney Michael Powa is serving as the Vice President's legal counsel, and according to Representative Co, there was some tension between the prosecution and the defense during the proceedings. However, she said this is normal given the differing arguments being advanced by both sides, adding that rather than tension, it is simply part of an adversarial proceeding. Meanwhile, regarding the pre-trial brief submitted by Duterte's camp, Representative Adyong said it was weighed but found wanting, adding that while the document was lengthy, the prosecution team found it lacking in substance.
Kaya sinasabi natin it's less in substance, it's voluminous, medyo makapal, pero kung titingnan mo, wala talaga siyang substantive na controverting evidence. It's purely general denial, and basically ang nakasasaad doon sa kanilang pre-trial brief ay pagko-question mismo ng proseso.
The prosecution panel added that it would be better for the defense team to present concrete evidence to either refute or support the allegations stated in the articles of impeachment, rather than merely expressing its desire to have the case dismissed even before any hearings have taken place. Prosecution spokespersons also said that the camp of VP Sara should provide the answers that the public has long been wanting for. Where did the missing confidential funds go? How can the alleged discrepancies between the Vice President's SALN and her declared income be explained? And how does she explain the alleged assassination threat against the President, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker?
What we can tell you is that the position of the House prosecution team is that it should be a fair trial, impartial, at the same time the number of days kung saan pag-uusapan itong mga ebidensya ay enough para malaman ng taong bayan yung may lalatag na mga ebidensya under the articles of impeachment.
At this point, the prosecution team cannot yet fully disclose the matters discussed during the pre-trial conference because the proceedings are still ongoing. One of the reasons is the need to protect the safety of the witnesses to be presented by both the prosecution panel and the defense team. Both parties have also been directed to submit their comments on the stipulation of exhibits until June 22, before the issue is elevated for resolution on June 25. Meanwhile, the pre-trial conference is expected to last until June 25. Sheila Natividad for The Nation.
It has become increasingly apparent Davao City Representative Paolo Polong Duterte is so clueless on the phrase rule of law, which his father's administration so willfully ignored in the enforcement of his war on illegal drugs. The centerpiece platform of government, which yielded thousands of lives lost on extrajudicial slayings and led to the former president's incarceration in The Hague, to answer for them before the ICC. Now he, Representative Paulo Duterte, is whining on the government, weaponizing the rule of law on word Sentro Balita is in the crosshairs of the ICC, as our Kenneth Paciente reports.
An alleged warrant of arrest has been issued by the International Criminal Court or ICC against Senator Bongo and two other police officials. According to a Facebook post by Davao City Representative Polong Duterte, the information came from a highly reliable source. Senator Go served as a special assistant of former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is now in The Hague facing crimes against humanity charges linked to his bloody war on illegal drugs. Senator Bato de la Rosa, who allegedly allegedly served as a chief implementer of the war on drugs, is hiding from the ICC warrant of arrest. Representative Duterte asked, when will the administration stop using the ICC as a political weapon? Malacanang responds.
Bakit ba lagi nating sinisisi ang korte? Sinisisi natin ng administrasyon. Huwag nating kalimutan na yung kaso, nasampa ito 2017 pa. So hindi ito wine-weaponize, kinakailangan lamang po na matugunan din ang hiling ng mga kababayan natin.
The National Bureau of Investigation earlier said more ICC warrants of arrest could be issued this month. But for now, the Department of Justice maintains it has not received any official communication from the ICC. The Philippine National Police meanwhile says it is ready to enforce the warrant should it be confirmed and transmitted through proper channels.
Kaso na kapwa nating Pilipino ang nagsampa laban sa mga di umanong pang-aabuso patungkol sa EJK. So wag natin kalimutan yan. Pilipino rin po ang nagsampa ng kaso. At kung magkakaroon man po at mag-i-issue ng valid warrant of arrest, valid pa rin po yun.
But what if Go seeks protective custody from the Senate just as De La Rosa did before?
Wala pa akong nakukuha information na gano'n, so it's very difficult again, very difficult to pay. Let's wait kung totoo nga yung information.
Senator Bongo says he's leaving everything in God's hands. The lawmaker insists he has violated no law. He also stressed that he never interfered in police operations. Go expressed hope that the issue would not be politicized. In the ICC's document containing charges, several individuals were identified as alleged members of what it described as a common plan, referring to the alleged agreement between Duterte and other co-perpetrators to neutralize suspected criminals, including those allegedly linked to illegal drugs. The document names Go, De La Rosa, Danao, and former top police officials, including Cascolan, Albayalde, Geran, La Peña, as well as former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre. Kalezal Pardilia for the Nation.
Even as one Chinese structure vanishes from Scarborough Shoal, new questions are surfacing over Beijing's continuing presence in the area. From a newly spotted research vessel to other activities inside the lagoon, the Philippine Coast Guard says the story is far from over. The full report from our Patrick De Jesus.
Dubbed as a floating campus, China's new research vessel is currently operating in Scarborough Shoal or Bajo de Masinloc. It was commissioned only last year under Tongji University, described as an all-weather intelligent oceanographic vessel for scientific research and equipped with laboratories. Its presence in Bajo de Masinloc was confirmed for the first time during a Maritime Domain Awareness or MDA flight conducted this Thursday by the Philippine Coast Guard with PTV News on board, one day after it was reported that China's floating platform was no longer in the area. The PCG maintains that the Philippines has not authorized any activity by China.
They are justifying their presence because of this marine scientific research. But on the part of the Philippine government, of course, we are still not supporting such cover.
In the vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc, there is also a Chinese research support vessel, Chinese maritime militia vessels, and a China Coast Guard ship. The PCG aircraft circled Bajo de Masinloc for nearly an hour. Inside the lagoon, several buoys remained in place, as well as an antenna attached to a rock. Service boats were also spotted on the reef itself, along with what appeared to be Chinese sampans carrying people on board.
This only started when we first documenting the platform. I would like to believe that these boats, seemingly sampan, that we have documented are pretty much once again related with those illegal MSR activities.
During the MDA flight, the PCG pilots responded to repeated radio challenges from China's PLA Navy and Air Force.
Chinese Air Force. This is Philippine Coast Guard aircraft PCG-2081, and we are conducting routine maritime patrol, and we are over. You do not possess any legal authority to operate within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone.
For retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, there is a strong possibility that China may occupy Bajo de Masinloc as an artificial island, which it has already declared a nature reserve. He said it is time to pursue a new arbitration case and build on the success of the 2016 arbitral award in favor of the Philippines.
They can send a bigger platform next time. What else can we do except go legal? So we have to do that, and it should be the DFA that will take the lead.
On board the maritime patrol aircraft of the Philippine Coast Guard here in the West Philippine Sea, Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
CIDG officials conducting a probe on the tragic drowning deaths of two Ateneo Blue Eagle College basketball recruits from a rigorous training camp regimen are at their wits' end over the continued no-show of just resigned Ateneo men's basketball coach Tab Baldwin. Still in all, DILG Chief John Vic Remulla is optimistic to submit a report and recommendation on the probe by next week. Orion Lesigas has more, to include a Blue Eagle Hoops alumni who pushes back on the CIDG's attempt to frame this as hazing turned homicide incident.
Basta may namatay, may liability lagi yan. Pero kung para masabi ko sino liable, hindi ko pa masabi ngayon.
The investigation into the deaths of Divine Adili and Rene Baterbonia during a training activity in Dipakulaw, Aurora is now close to establishing what really happened. According to DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla, the investigation being conducted by the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group is nearing completion. In fact, Remulla said they expect to submit the recommendations to the Department of Justice or DOJ as early as next week.
Marami kaming nakitang, we created a timeline kung ano nangyari from decision making na pupunta sila sa team building, kung sinong marunong lumangoy, sinong hindi, kung na-inform nila coaches nila na marunong, nakuha rin namin yung kung kailan dumating yung mga coaches sa lugar bago nun, at kung ano ang condition nila nung nangyari lahat.
The PNP appears frustrated over the continued failure of resigned Ateneo Blue Eagles head coach Tab Baldwin to respond to their subpoenas. As of today, Baldwin has yet to appear before the CIDG.
We will file them in contempt kasi pangalawang notice na namin ito.
The PNP CIDG maintains that Baterbonia and Adili may have been victims of hazing and homicide. This comes after a lawyer for coaching staff member Reynaldo Jacinto pushed back against the allegation, saying no one wanted the tragic outcome suffered by the two victims.
There is a possibility that probably they can be indicted for violation of the anti-hazing law. That's why we are investigating. Ang hazing naman not necessarily merong physical contact or what, pagka merong emotional.
The PNP said its investigation into the drowning deaths of Baterbonia and Adili is now about 80% complete. Meanwhile, 8 Ateneo Blue Eagles players who took part in the training activity appeared before the CIDG today to give their statements. Among them was Kiefer Alas, who was reportedly also nearly drowned during the incident. Ryan Lisiges for The Nation.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has officially adopted House Resolution 1132, commending President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and various government agencies. This for their swift response to the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that recently struck several parts of Mindanao. Approved via voice voting during a special session, the resolution recognizes the government's rapid deployment of relief goods, medical assistance, and the restoration of essential services in affected communities. The resolution also called for the need of continued boosting to relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction programs to support those impacted by the disaster. When disaster strikes, every second counts. That is why employees of People's Television Network joined the nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill to put safety measures to the test and ensure they know what to do when the ground starts shaking. Participants practiced the duck, cover, and hold protocol and stressed the importance of having family reunification plans, knowing evacuation routes, and familiarizing themselves with building exits. They also underscored the need to keep go bags ready with essential supplies such as food, water, first aid kits, and important documents. Other state media organizations, including the Philippine Information Agency, Philippine News Agency, Radio Pilipinas, and IBC 13, also took part in the drill as part of the government's continuing efforts to strengthen disaster preparedness.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is actively negotiating double taxation agreements or DTAs with 10 countries to boost foreign investment. This as announced by Finance Secretary Frederick Go. Alongside these efforts, the Department of Finance, or DOF, is also prioritizing the passage of the multinational minimum tax bill. The government is currently navigating various stages of negotiation with the following nations. Currently, the country is under renegotiations with Japan, Singapore, and Hong Kong, while talks are ongoing with Liechtenstein, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. Meanwhile, Malaysia, Luxembourg, and South Korea are on its early stages through the process of authority to negotiate. Of these ongoing discussions, the agreement with Japan is expected to be the first to be finalized and implemented. During the president's state visit in Japan last month, the two countries have inked a renegotiated convention for avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to taxes on income. In the meantime, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, has raised its key borrowing rate by 25 basis points to 4.75% from the previous 4.5%. BSP Governor Eli M. Remolona Jr. cited the persistent price pressures as factors to the increase due to the nearly 4 months of tensions between the United States and Iran, which led to another tension in global oil prices. Before easing to 6.8% in May, the headline inflation has peaked at 7.2% in April. The BSP has raised the inflation projects for 2026 and 2027 to 6.4% and 4.5% respectively, which are higher compared to the previous forecast. Meanwhile, the BSP assured their preparedness to take further monetary actions as needed to bring back the price growth to target.
The Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, has reported 46.5% contribution of the government in compulsory health care financing schemes, marking the largest share of the country's current health expenditure, or CHE, in 2025. According to the PSA, household out-of-pocket payments comprised 41.2% of the CHE, while voluntary health care payment schemes made up 12.3%. The total health expenditure of the country has jumped to 1.87 trillion pesos in 2025. Health spending per person increased by 14%, rising to 15,223 pesos in 2025. The CHE represented 92.5% of the total health spending, while health capital formation accounting for the remaining 7.5%. To protect innocent and immature minds from the menace of disinformation and the depredations of unsavory websites and personalities with ill intent, the Department of Information and Communications Technology has partnered with Facebook's parent company in introducing an array of safety measures to help parents keep their adolescent kids on the straight and narrows, each time they surf the web for research, play, or entertainment purposes. Our Elijah Canlas has more on Meta's pursuit of safe and secure teen accounts by way of its Safe and Smart event launching.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, joined the launch of Meta's new safety features. This is in line with the department's Digital Bayanihan Safety Summit for the government's online protection agenda. In partnership with Meta Philippines, a Screen Smart event was launched along with government agencies, civic organizations, and NGOs in the country.
Our goal with teen accounts is very simple to say and very hard to do. That teens online have a safe, age-appropriate experience online.
Meta introduced advanced Instagram security features for teen accounts or youth aged 13 to 17 years old. Privacy features are automatically turned on for these age groups and can be modified by parents based on their preferences. These features include making the account private and stricter, filtering of sent and received messages, as well as tags and mentions on their accounts. It also includes an automatic sleep mode and reminder to prevent teens from spending too much time in front of gadgets. According to Meta Philippines, they aim to give parents peace of mind over their children being safe while using their social media platforms. DICT Secretary Henry Aguda explained the importance of protecting the youth in using social media.
And in our youth, marami pa rin 9 out of 10 of our youth are online, and that accounts for a huge traffic. And alam niyo na, anything that touches our youth, we're very, very protective and very supportive of. So this event today is a very good example where our industry partners are not working around the government but are working with the government.
Southeast Asia has different challenges and they might be different than the rest of the world. That is why it's very important for us to be here and to talk about teen accounts and safety. So obviously it takes a village to get this right. Technology has evolved a lot over the years. It has changed, but what has not changed is parental anxiety.
Meanwhile, the Council for the Welfare of Children, or CWC, and the National Youth Commission, or NYC, supports this move to strengthen protection against cyberbullying and online child abuse.
Unfortunately, nowadays, we have teens growing up with iPads as a normal thing. Even in school, you see them use iPads already. So I'm not sure as to what the new standard is actually in terms of what is a good balanced use for scrolling. But in my case, I would just say that I would prefer teens to have more time outside rather than on the computer.
As Meta's modern safety features align with DICT's digital agenda, it ensures a safer digital space for the youth, protecting the next generation from the risks of the country's emerging technology. Elijah Canlas for The Nation.
Coming up, guess whose Filipino citizenships were approved by Congress? That's next if you pinky swear to still be here after the break, because we will be back shortly, and that's a promise.
Stay up to date on His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s actions and initiatives this week as he leads the country in nation building. PBBM at Work.
Iba't ibang kulay, pantay-pantay. Dahil ang prinsipyo ng paggalang at karapatan ay walang pinipiling kasarian. Patuloy nating ipaglaban ang isang mas inklusibong mundo para sa lahat. Happy Pride Month! Isang mensahe mula sa inyo, People's Television. Tara, lumikha! Papalapit na ang Father's Day. Nag-iisip na ba kayo ng mga pwedeng ipangregalo? Try nyo na ito, DIY photo frame para sa inyong memories. isang espesyal na Father's Day drawing, at personalized DIY figurines na perfect para sa espesyal na araw ng mga ama. Sini ang magniningning dito sa
Artsy Craftsy Pala!
Artsy Craftsy, Sabado, alas 10:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa inyong People's Television. Malugod na pagbati kay PTV News Senior Reporter Patrick De Jesus, na pinarangalan bilang natatanging Pilipino sa larangan ng pamamahayag. Sa Gawad Pilipino, duyan ka ng Magiting Awards 2026.
Pagpapatuloy ko po yung aking tungkulin para may hatid yung katotohanan sa bawat Pilipino.
Ipinagmamalaki ka ng iyong PTV family. Goldenberg, the concert series presents a chamber music trio featuring classical pieces, passionate tangos, heartfelt kundimans, and iconic pop ballads. With flutist Antonio R. Maige, cellist Renato B. Lucas, and pianist Ina Montes Claros. Celebrate the timeless magic of music. Goldenberg, the concert series. Only here on PTV. PTV Consumer Watch. Bantay presyo sa gasolina.
Manipod PTV Cordillera, siyak ni Ala Sunduan. Tutukan, pinapapigsa, napanawa. Kan mas komprehensibo ang pangipadamag, sagot ti subukal a pwersa ti PTV News Team. Lunes hanggat Biyernes, iti PTV Regional News Block. Dito'y laang People's Television.
Disaster Watch. Mga paalala pagkatapos ng lindol. Suriin ang iyong sarili at mga kasama kung may tinamong pinsala. Magbigay ng paunang lunas kung kailangan. Unahin ang mga pangangailangan ng mga matatanda, buntis, may kapansanan at mga bata. Kung nasa tabing dagat at may banta ng tsunami, agad na lumikas papunta sa ligtas at mataas na lugar. Suriin kung may natapong nakalalasong kanikan at mga bagay na maaaring pagmulan ng sunog. Patayin ang main switch ng tubig at kuryente, pati na rin ang tangke ng gas o LPG. Huwag bumalik sa loob ng gusali hanggat walang abiso na ligtas na ito. Sa panahon ng sakuna, dapat laging listo. Record breakers at MVPs pagdating sa sports. Pero makapuntos kaya sila sa ating rapid fire questions?
Ikaw ba, guilty ka ba?
First time ko pero ready na.
Beyond the game. Dito lang sa PTV Sports.
The 7.8 monster quake that hit off the coast of Sarangani Island province, which claimed the lives of at least 5.5 dozen people, has highlighted the eventuality of the big one striking the megacity in the near future. Thus, officials of the NDRRMC, OCD, and the MMDA saw it fit to keep the residents of the NCR in heightened awareness by way of staging a national earthquake drill in the second quarter of this year, held earlier today, as we hear this report from our Floyd Brents.
3, 2, and 1.
As the clock struck 9 o'clock this morning, sirens wailed, signaling the start of today's nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. Officials from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, Office of Civil Defense, and other government agencies simultaneously performed the dock cover and hold safety posture during the ceremonial pressing of the button earlier at Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City. Alongside this, various areas across the entire country conducted their respective earthquake drills in accordance with the NSED. According to Office of Civil Defense Administrator Undersecretary Harold Cabreros, earthquakes can happen at any time in different parts of the country, as what happened with the recent magnitude 7.8 earthquake in Mindanao. In a country like the Philippines, which is frequently hit by natural disasters like earthquakes, the Office of Civil Defense emphasized the importance of collective preparedness so that everyone knows what to do in times of disaster.
Nakita natin sa mga kumalat na video matapos ang lindol sa Mindanao kung paano tumugon ang mga mag-aaral at guro sa mga paaralan. Bagamat natural na magkaroon ng takot o pangamba sa ganoong sitwasyon, malinaw na nakita rin natin sa pagtugon na yon ang kahalagaan ng regular na earthquake drills.
The Harmonized National Contingency Plan for the Greater Metro Manila Area, or GMMA, was also presented. This explains how the government prepares its emergency response once a strong earthquake strikes, especially since it is expected to paralyze the main emergency operations center. It shifts focus on how various regional disaster risk reduction and management council from other regions in the country will respond and maintain proper coordination should the big one hit Metro Manila.
We go beyond the duck cover and hold simulation exercises. We test our command and control and coordination. We test our EOCs. We test our response units, and even deploying them in these areas na kung ano yung nandun sa HNCP.
Meanwhile, FIVOX Director Teresito Bacolcol stated that apart from the West Valley Fault, there is also the threat of movement in Manila Trench, which could possibly generate a magnitude 8.3 earthquake and trigger a tsunami.
If it's low tide sa Manila Bay, 3.5-meter tsunami waves. If it's high tide, add 2 meters more, so maging 5.5. And magkakaroon ng flooding. Of course, it will affect yung mga coastal communities in sa Metro Manila. Yung response ng mga tao in coastal communities, dapat yung mas paigtingin pa.
In a continuing effort to train and prepare for the serious threats and effects of the next powerful earthquake, the Office of Civil Defense and the RRMC and government agencies assure that disaster response systems are ready to deploy personnel, establish effective command and control systems, and maintain proper communication should the big one arrive. Floyd Brents for The Nation.
During the ASEAN Railway Conference 2026, Department of Transportation or DOTR Secretary Giovanni Lopez has called for increased support from member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN. This to advance the transportation infrastructure of the country. The DOTR chief emphasized the importance of regional collaboration for major projects such as the North-South Commuter Railway, the Metro Manila Subway, and the MRT Line 3. He highlighted that international development partners are essential not only for transforming the transportation landscape, but also for promoting business growth in the country.
With these game-changing projects, we can transform the entire landscape of the Philippine transportation. But to achieve this, we would need help and collaboration from our partners and friends from ASEAN countries. We all must demonstrate our solidarity as it is in our best interest, and we owe it to future generation. A better future and an upgraded standard of living and quality of life for all.
And in other news, the Sandigan Bayan 6th Division denied the motion for inhibition filed by former DPWH Mimaropa Regional Director Gerald Pacanan in a malversation case linked to an alleged substandard flood control project in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro. Pacanan, a co-accused of former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldico, who is currently at large, had asked all justices to voluntarily inhibit themselves from the case. He claimed there were grounds to question whether the judges could maintain the cold neutrality of an impartial judge. However, the court ruled that he failed to prove any bias or partiality and said there was no valid basis for voluntary inhibition.
Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla emphasized at the 7th Global Conference on Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG 16, at the UN headquarters that the fight against corruption should go beyond punishment and focus on building stronger institutions for the future. He said corruption is a matter of public trust and stressed that reforms must go hand in hand with accountability amid challenges such as flood control projects in the Philippines. He added that the success of anti-corruption efforts is not measured only by cases filed or convictions, but by whether government institutions become more effective and responsive. He also noted strengthened coordination with Supreme Court Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo through the Justice Sector Coordinating Council to improve accountability systems. When push comes to shove, authorities are moving to address a long-standing flooding concern in Las Piñas in Parañaque. Talks are now underway to relocate families living along Tungtong Creek to make way for long-term solutions. Our James Thompson reports.
Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon, will hold a meeting with officials from the Las Piñas City and Parañaque City LGUs with the National Housing Authority, or NHA, to discuss the relocation plan for the families living on top of Tungtong Creek at the boundary of Las Piñas and Parañaque.
Pinakamalaking problema dito. Yan. So, madaming ISF nakapatong sa creek.
More than 500 families are currently situated on top of the creek, which is why there is a little space for rainwater, causing rapid flooding in the area. According to the Secretary, the drainage improvement in the area has been completed, but their project does not end here.
Kahit na pinagaki natin yung drainage, ang labasan ng tubig dito. And obviously, mapupuno kagad itong creek na to dahil nakapatong na yung mga bahay sa creek mismo.
He noted that what needs to be done in the area will not be easy, and if it is not started immediately, other anti-flooding projects in the area will go to waste.
Ako na mismo magsasabi sa mga kababayan natin na nakatira dito sa Tungtong Creek. Hindi po sila pwede dyan at kailangan po natin silang i-relocate. Pinapangunahan ko na po. Sa lalong madaling panahon, kailangan natin i-relocate itong mga kababayan na natin na nandito. Po natin sila papabayaan. Now we will provide yung tamang compensation sa kanila. Tutulungan natin sila, bibigyan natin sila ng financial assistance. At the same time, bibigyan natin sila ng maayos na relocation.
Meanwhile, Secretary Dizon also visited the nearly completed flood mitigation project along Marcos Alvarez in Barangay Talon 5, Las Piñas City. Due to the small drainage pipes under the bridge, garbage gets trapped, causing rapid flooding in the area whenever it rains. It was reportedly delayed for 2 years and is only expected to be completed this month of June. Due to the change in district engineer, the formerly small waterway has now been replaced with a wider opening under the bridge. The DPWH continues its strict monitoring of anti-flooding projects in various parts of the country. The agency assures that the timeline or target dates of the projects are being followed so they can immediately help the areas, especially during the rainy season. J.M. Thompson, for The Nation.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development Bicol Field Office demonstrated readiness during the second quarter nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill held this morning. Assessment was conducted by the Office of Civil Defense Region 5 with evaluators from the Philippine National Police, the Bureau of Fire Protection, and the Philippine Red Cross. The drill included simulation exercises, evacuation procedures, and emergency response scenarios to test preparedness in a possible strong earthquake in Legazpi City. Authorities emphasize that regular drills are essential for strengthening disaster preparedness, while the government continues to deploy additional personnel and relief assistance to ongoing operations in Mindanao. Relief operations are still in progress in earthquake-affected areas in Mindanao as government agencies deliver assistance to residents in Sarangani province. The Department of Social Welfare reach remote and hard-to-access communities. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is busy in its coordinated response efforts alongside local social welfare offices. Additional family food packs and essential aid are being distributed to thousands of displaced families staying in evacuation centers as rehabilitation efforts keep on.
More than a week after a strong earthquake jolted central Mindanao, many residents in Sarangani province remain in evacuation centers and makeshift shelters as aftershocks continue. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has provided family tents and food packs to support displaced families. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council and partner agencies continue relief operations and assistance delivery to affected communities.
We'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, Tom Holland has addressed rumors surrounding his relationship with Zendaya during a recent interview with Esquire. He responded to viral AI-generated images showing a supposed wedding, which even caused confusion among his family members. Holland clarified there was no such public ceremony tied to the images and avoided giving further details. He also reflected on the relationship, saying they support each other through the pressures of life and the spotlight. Meanwhile, Zendaya's stylist previously claimed the couple had already tied the knot, though no official confirmation has been publicly detailed. And the Kings of Convenience are set to return to Manila for a concert after 16 years, marking their first performance in the Philippines since 2010. The Norwegian indie folk duo composed of Erlen Uye and Eirik Glambik will perform at the PICC Plenary Hall on November 20th, according to promoter Carpos. Tickets will go on sale starting June 19 via Tikelo.com. The duo is expected to promote their 2021 album Peace or Love alongside songs from their earlier releases such as Quiet is the New Loud and Riot on an Empty Street. In the meantime, Shrek 5 is officially set to arrive in cinemas on June 30th, 2027, marking the return of the beloved animated franchise after more than a decade. Universal Pictures released the film's first teaser trailer, offering a glimpse of Shrek, Donkey, Princess Fiona, and their children embarking on a new adventure. The teaser also introduced a storyline that sends the characters toward the magical city of further away, before ending with them in a jail cell. Original voice cast members Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz are set to return, with Zendaya joining the cast. The film was originally scheduled for 2026 before being moved to its current 2027 release date.
Benny Boatwright and Matthew James Ramos are now one step closer to representing the Philippines as naturalized athletes. The Senate has approved on third and final reading House Bill number 6639, which seeks to grant Philippine citizenship to PBA import and Gilas Pilipinas prospect Benny Boatwright. Also passed was House Bill number 664, which covers the naturalization of 25-year-old wrestler Matthew James Ramos. The measures had previously been delayed after the Senate failed to reach a quorum on June 1st. However, under the new Senate majority led by Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian, the naturalization bills were successfully advanced during the first special session of the 20th Congress. Once the process is completed, Boatwright is expected to join the Gilas Pilipinas pool for the 2026 Asian Games. Meanwhile, Ramos is projected to strengthen the country's campaign in international wrestling competitions as a full-fledged Filipino athlete. The Philippine baseball team remains unbeaten in the 2026 Senior League Baseball Asia Pacific and Middle East Regional Tournament currently being held in Indonesia. The national squad delivered a dominant performance against host nation Indonesia, cruising to a 16-0 victory. Prior to that win, the Philippines also defeated Hong Kong 16-4 and registered a 5-2 triumph over Guam to stay perfect in that competition. With a strong chance of securing a podium finish, the national team is determined to continue its winning ways in its upcoming matches.
Easterlies may affect southern Luzon, Visayas, and the eastern sections of Mindanao. Visayas, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, the Bicol region, Dinagat Island, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, and Davao Oriental may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms, while Metro Manila and the rest of the country may expect the same weather condition. Our food for thought tonight comes from Brian Tracy, a motivational speaker, author, and business consultant known for his teachings on achievement, productivity, and personal development. He says, success can lead to complacency, and complacency is the greatest enemy of success. You know, I agree on this because actually it is so easy to coast on past victories and fall in love with your hard work because of the past, that you stop innovating, you stop trying to learn new things. So for me, I honestly feel that while it is a tempting trap to keep being happy about what you've done in the past, it's always good to kind of like be paranoid, you know, about trying to be stagnant, but by not trying to be stagnant. Always try to think that someone might be trying to take my job, or, you know, I might be getting too complacent, and make sure you're always trying to create new stretch goals for yourself and always keep learning. That's a good attitude to have. How about you, Jay?
I agree. And for me, if you want to keep on growing, just keep on learning as long as you are living.
And before we end our newscast, please take the time to like, subscribe, or share PTV's social media pages flashing on your screen now. It would go a long way, and we would truly appreciate it. And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Sharms Espina.
I'm Jay Esteban. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.